What's up, Stars fans? We actually get to do a positive video for you today. Stars win 3-2 over the Edmonton Oilers. If you didn't know, this is the Two Brothers Mic'd Up show. We sit down after each and every Stars game and we talk about our thoughts and discuss them for you right here and now. As we start each video, we always go to the past video because at the end of each video we start with give predictions for what we think the score will be for the game. So, Quinn, you liked a score of 4-1 for Dallas if they were to come on top, and you liked a score of 3-0 if the Oilers were going to come on top. I liked a score of 4-2, which I almost hit on that if we had gotten an empty net goal. And then I liked a score of 4-0. I think we gave a lot of, for our Oilers predictions, that if the Stars didn't work themselves out of the funk that they had been in, it was probably just going to be a terrible, terrible game. And I think that's why we had the reflections that we did. But let's go down the list and talk about the goal scorers. We have Jason Spezza, a minute 23 in. We have Jamie Benn in the second period. We have Teddy Purcell. And we have Jyrki Jokipaka, or Kevin, as everyone on the Dallas Stars likes to talk about him. And then in the third period, we had a Yakupov goal. So, right off the bat, let's talk about the first 15 seconds of the game. That this game, it actually almost changed for the worst. Like, I think if it had wound up being a goal and Tyler Seguin's stick had not been there, I think this probably would have been a different game, because I think the Stars would have been down on themselves thinking, you know, just what the hell are we doing that we just can't catch any lucky breaks? I mean, if they score on that, is this a different game, Quinn?
Oh yeah, it's now a panic mode game for the Dallas Stars. I feel like they'd start going back into what they've been doing the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Thankfully, I mean, I'm not too sure what Goligoski was really thinking about that. I mean, you can't fault Niemi on it because, I mean, he stops the puck. He just leaves it there for the defenseman to come in to grab it. And then Goligoski just kind of overskates it for... I honestly can't think of any reason why. I mean, he must have been thinking about something else than his job at that time. But I think that's a reflection on just how this team has been going the past couple of weeks. It just hasn't seemed like their heads have been in the game. Yeah, the past couple of games, the Stars look better. I mean, they looked decent towards the Kings, and they looked all right in the third period of the Sharks game. But other than that, like, their heads have just not been in the game. And for them to start off the way it did, it kind of put me on edge a little bit for like that first like minute and a half before Jason Spezza scores. It just would have been a completely different game. I honestly think it would have. But the Stars score for the third straight game for the first goal. Now, what I liked about Spezza's goal is that, you know, he dumps it in. The Stars are actually fighting for this goal. Like, they didn't just give up on it. And, I mean, a lot of it comes from... You do see the Oilers defenseman, I think it was Schultz, as soon as he gets it, he kind of just dumps it off immediately, trying to get rid of the problem. And that's very reminiscent of what the Stars have been playing for the past couple of weeks, is that the Stars just aren't thinking whenever they're getting a puck. You know, they're trying to dump their problems off to someone else, especially on our defensive side. I mean, you can tell when the Stars have gotten some pucks in the corner or along the boards, they just kind of just fling it out, hoping that someone gets it. That way they don't have to deal with the puck anymore. But in this game, the Stars are actually, taking their time. It seemed like they just weren't rushed, which was fantastic. But again, we go to the stat that I'm keeping track of. I don't think you're really seeing anyone else talk about this stat, but the Stars, they get the first penalty in the game again. This is the 29th game now in 48 games. I mean, that's more than half of the games that they're taking the first penalty, and that's the momentum that the Stars are giving away. The Stars in this game, they had the momentum. They had it all. And then they take a penalty and they just let it, get taken away, because the Edmonton Oilers, their power play actually looked pretty dangerous. Talk about our defense, Quinn, on the penalty kill and what you liked out of this one more than you have in previous games.
Well, it kind of seemed that everybody was doing their job. Nobody was slacking in one area or the other. They were making good passes for the most part. They're controlling the breakout. They're controlling time. And they're actually taking their time, which has been a big problem for this team lately. Yeah. And the penalty kill looked a lot better this time around, just mainly because, they're not trying to rush too much, but they're also trying not to defend as much, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, it totally makes sense. I think that's exactly what the Stars have been doing. They've just been rushing way too much and overthinking things. Like, once you put your head into the game of hockey, that's whenever the team... that's when the other team has the advantage. Whenever you're just putting too much thought into everything, that's when the team can jump on the advantage over you. Now, the Stars do give up one power play goal. Did you see anything different off that power? Well, actually, let's talk about the Jokipaka goal, his first goal, and let's go into the coach's challenge, because so far we have had a string of coach's challenges starting to go against us now. Before, it was kind of cute that we were getting the benefit of the doubt on the coach's challenge, but now they're starting to go against us. Like, do you think it's the right call to call that offsides whenever both skates aren't touching the ice, but one skate is hovering over the blue line? I mean, do you think that is considered an advantage for being offsides?
I mean, I pretty much would rule with the rule book on this one. Rule book says both feet have to be firmly planted. So I'm just gonna go with that on the announcement.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get it, but again, there was no advantage being had by Hemsky having his skate off the ice and going in at the time that he was. Jokipaka, he just sniped that puck. It was all Jokipaka. There was no advantage for Hemsky to even being right there. He didn't really pull anyone away from the coverage of the shot. So again, I think they need to redefine that shot, because, or what offsides is. Have it to where you have to have both skates in the zone. I think that makes more sense than just like, oh no, his skate is hovering, but he's clearly not offsides. But next time, I would just like to see Hemsky drag that skate just a little bit longer instead of picking it up whenever he does. But yeah, it was a beauty of a goal. What I liked about that is, Yoki Paka had the best game, I think, as a Dallas Star. I mean, I know, Quinn, you like to pay attention towards the defense. Talk about Yoki Paka, kind of in a hole in like his game tonight.
I really feel like he's definitely starting to come into his own. I think him being on the lineup for a full season is going to actually do good things for him. It's a good thing to see, like a prospect that comes up actually doing well in the NHL. So that's definitely a plus to him.
Yeah, and him teamed up. Did you think that it was a good idea to have him really teamed up with Lindell? Because it did seem like those two were gelling pretty well for the no time that they've played together before.
Well, they actually have played together before. Like, I think Razor said it, but him and Lindell were teammates on the World Championship team in Finland. So they actually do have chemistry together. And I think it's probably better for him to be posted with Yoki Paka than anybody else. Because, Yoki Paka is kind of becoming that veteran presence back there in that third pairing.
Yeah, and I think there's word that Jordy Ben's not going to be back till after the All-Star break. So I have a feeling that you're going to see, and Alexiak's going to be down in the AHL for the full 2 weeks. So I think it'll be Yoki Paka and Lindell through the rest of the way. I honestly don't think that Nemeth draws into the lineup again. I just think he's had a bad string of games that he doesn't really deserve being in the lineup. Hopefully Lindell comes into a little more comfort. He played well in this game. I think they each got 15, 16 well-deserved minutes on the ice. I don't think that I would have subbed him out for anybody. Going into the power play goal for the Oilers, though, I would sub out, and I'm getting back off of that Goligoski train. Goligoski has been terrible the past couple of games. There's no longer defending his poor play and how him and Klingberg deserve first pairing. I'm not really sure, because Klingberg is starting to get a little bit of his game back, which is great, but Goligoski just seems to be regressing, and I don't know if he's tired now and he just can't really handle the workload as much as we thought he could. But that power play goal that we saw the Edmonton Oilers get was completely atrocious. He breaks all sorts of rules that you're not supposed to as a defenseman on the power play. What he does is he abandons his position in front of the net and leaves a guy all alone to provide a screen to the guy that's about to shoot from the high slot. And what Goligoski does, he abandons the front of the net and skates above where our forward was. I mean, I know you, Quinn, you were not happy to see that. I mean,
I've wanted to trade Goligoski off this team since the season began.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't like Goligoski.
Hopefully, I think this being his contract year, I honestly would not like him back. He just, towards the end of last season and the beginning of this season, it really seemed like he was starting to turn that corner, but he's having judgment lapses to where I honestly don't know what he was thinking on that play. And please, if someone out there would like to defend his actions, I am all ears. I mean, do you see any kind of positive with him trying to go up and contest that shot, Quinn?
Oh no, that's what your wingers are for. That's how your wingers are taught. They play the square. They get the penalty kill wingers out there, and that's their role. Your role is to clear the front of the net. So I don't know what he's doing up there.
Yeah, I didn't like it, but I did like Jamie Benn. You know, him getting on the score sheets. I mean, I know there's been a lot of concern about Jamie, and it just kind of seems like his head hasn't been in the game either. He started, you know, getting a lot more physical. I think Jamie's game comes from his physicality. I think for him to really stand out and be a factor on the ice, he needs to be physical. He needs to lead this team where this team does not have depth at, and that's physicality. We have a lot of flash, not a lot of, and we have a lot of burn, but we don't have a lot of grit. But it was nice seeing that his effort was there in this game. It did seem like. Did you think that the Stars at the beginning of the game, that they were really feeding off the energy that the crowd was having? Like, was the Edmonton Oilers what the doctor ordered for this team?
I think so. I think this is more one of those teams that if you're having a bad slump, this is the kind of team that you want to play against to get yourselves back in it. I feel that they just played a much better game knowing that Edmonton is one of those bottom tier teams and that they should be outplaying them. And I think that gives them a real mental edge.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, since we started doing these videos, I now look at teams differently now. I mean, I don't think that there's a thing as give me points anymore. You know, these are all professional teams, and they're all going to play their hardest. But I mean, Edmonton was hurt, and they were going to their depth a lot from their AHL farm team and everything like that. But you know what? They still kind of hanged with the Stars a little bit. So I think it was a good effort, and I do think the Edmonton Oilers is what the doctor ordered for this team. But I also think that the Stars just, for some reason, they just hate being on the road now. They actually had a very good road record towards the beginning of the season, but now it's like the Black Plague, and they want to avoid it as much as possible, and that it seems like they're only getting the effort to go when they're at home to feed off the crowd. And the Dallas Stars have to know, especially since in February, you know, there's going to be some important road games coming up. You know, this schedule is not getting easier anymore. And we have Colorado coming in next game, and we know how Colorado gives fits to Dallas. Like, that team has been just an absolute kryptonite for the Dallas Stars the past couple of seasons. You know, they play the Stars hard, and they play them very well. And they always seem to bring energy against us. But then we get Yoki Paka getting his second goal, his good goal, the one that counts. And it just went along with how the Dallas Stars were playing in this game. That it's how they needed to play, and they just kept at it. They kept fighting. They kept showing some urgency. They kept up the pep. You know, it's just Stars hockey. They played Stars hockey, and they applied the pressure with their skill and their speed more than anything. And we had good goaltending from Niemi, even though he has a real soft goal go in. But I honestly think that goes back on to defense as well. I mean, Lindell, it's his second game ever, but he had just a dunsical play whenever he broke his stick. He breaks his stick and then is skating towards the bench for a new stick, which I love. I hate when people just stand there without a stick and they become better doors than windows. But what he does is he stops, tries to play the puck with his skate, It gets knocked away from Yoki Paka. Yakupov comes in, gets a kitten soft goal against Niemi, which I think was the only bad point from Niemi that night. And I think this game proves that Niemi deserves the rest of the games, at least until the All-Star game. Quinn, do you think Lettinen should get any more of these games before the All-Star break?
I don't think Lettinen should have been getting games like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I think Niemi has proven that he is the number one goalie for this team. And I think that the Stars need to realize that quick and just let it ride with Niemi for a little bit, at least for like 3 or 4 more games. Like you said, after the All-Star break, get him in there once every like 3 games.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Niemi deserves the bulk of the majority now, so let's give it to him. Let's see. I think this team is built off the back of Niemi. Our good goaltending will take us very far, and I don't think Lettinen is going to provide that anymore. Let's talk about the rating that we have for this game.
I gave it a B, mainly because the goaltending, it was good, but it wasn't great. He had that soft goal go in. Defense was better, but there's still little bitty leaky holes that need to be fixed before this team gets back to greatness. And the offense is actually scoring more than 2 goals this time around, so that's always good.
Yep, I also wrote down a B. I thought it was a good game. I think this is what they can actually build off of. It's not, the Stars couldn't really build off of moral victories from losing. You build off winning. And I think this is where they will start to build their game. Big test against Colorado coming up. I think that is going to be, it's not a must win since we're still only at game 49, but this is a game I think the Stars need to have. And a couple of shout outs also to Jamie Benn becoming 5th all-time goals, tied with Joe Nieuwendyk in Dallas Stars history. I think he has 173 now. And also, I'm not too worried about it, but I do want to also mention that Tyler Seguin, he needs to find his shot again. He had so many chances on the power play on his side, what we like to call the Brett Hull side for the Brett Hull shot. He's just not shooting the puck very well. He was on Bad Radio today on the Ticket talking about how teams are no longer, questioning if they need to cover him. They are covering him harder. He's not getting free as much, and he said that he just needs to work harder on being able to get his shot off, and he needs to work on his shot, which I loved hearing because it's true. His shot is not where it needs to be. Let's go into the predictions for the Colorado game. What scores do you have for that?
Well, I hope that the Dallas Stars, they build off their last game. They're back at home again, which is always good. But Colorado is one of those teams that's popping up in the standings again. Right, they're starting to find their game.
Yeah, they are now 7th in the conference.
So I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be one of those games that could be kind of like a playoff type match in the regular season. Both teams are going to have to play hard, play physical, take shots when they can, good passes. If Dallas wins, I see it being a high scoring game, but a close scoring game as well. I think it'd be 4-3, and for Colorado, I think it would also be 4-3.
Yeah, I also see this as a potential playoff matchup if Colorado is able to stay healthy and kind of keep on the pace that they have. They have a really good goaltender. their offense is good that we see. I think their defense is a little questionable, but if it stays like this, if playoffs were tomorrow, the Stars would play the Avalanche. I don't like that matchup. I haven't liked that matchup for the past couple of seasons. The Colorado Avalanche always give us fits. But with that, off the Edmonton Oilers victory, I think we build off something. And I like a score of 3-0. I like that score. With Colorado, if they win, I like a score of 5-2. I think if the Colorado Avalanche win, I think it'll mirror the first game. Stars haven't played the Avalanche since the second game of the season, which they had a lead and then they blew it. I think it'll be a similar fashion if the Colorado Avalanche comes out. But if the Stars win, I think it'll be in good, dominant fashion. So that's the discussion. Be sure to subscribe, like, share wherever you would like. Leave any kind of feedback for us. Remember, this is a show for fans, by fans, so we're always looking to help build around with y'all. And, as always, tune in next time.